to Make Me a Fan. I'm the Jag.
I'm Pete.
And today, we are back on the grind. The originator, none greater, Make Me a Fan. Now, if this is your first time watching a Make Me a Fan episode, first and foremost, welcome. However, let me explain the format. The Encyclopedia is a wrestling genius. He's watched more wrestling in his life than most people watch their entire lives. Okay, up to this point, and you're not done. So, the Jag, having taken a very long break from wrestling, when I came back last year, I said, show me the things that I missed. And so the Encyclopedia has shown me different matches, different wrestlers, different shows, all in an effort to make me a fan. So, here's a little background on today. First of all, tell them what we're gonna watch, Pete.
So we, today, are gonna go to YouTube and we're gonna watch a Throwback Thursday episode of Ring of Honor from 2007.
Oh, wow, 2007.
And we are about to see the Briscoes, AKA Dem Boys, AKA Mark and Jay Briscoe, AKA Chicken, which is Mark Briscoe, Mark Briscoe, which is the younger brother.
Okay.
And then there's the older brother, Jay Briscoe.
Okay, all right.
Mark just goes by Chicken. So like most of the time, you'll hear him just, oh yeah, they're gonna tag in Chicken or Chicken, you know. So that's one of those things. They're these rowdy boys, Dem Boys from the country.
Okay, now here's the thing. I know nothing about the Briscoes. I have no idea what I'm in for. I have no clue whatsoever. I am not well versed on Ring of Honor. You, however, went back and watched, I think, every Ring of Honor episode there was. Am I right?
Yeah, so when I got the network 2 years ago from Ring of Honor, because Brody signed, I went into the TV archives and watched every single episode of TV and then also added in all the pay-per-views they had. So I spent 2018 for the first 6 months watching everything Ring of Honor getting caught up.
And that's why we call him the Encyclopedia. And so I don't know the first thing about the Briscoes. I do know a little bit about the Motor City Machine Guns because we talked about them when we watched them wrestle against Kazarian and Daniels,
And Young Bucks.
And the Young Bucks. But Kazarian and Daniels weren't SCU, they were called something else.
Yeah, they've had several names.
Several iterations of the same.
But calling them SCU would be the most appropriate name.
Okay.
The Addiction was the name that they had in Ring of Honor going back and forth.
All right.
And that was before they added Sky.
Perfect. All right, so here's the deal, people. I got to give you a little background as to where this came from. And maybe this is a little long-winded. Hell, we might even edit this out. It might turn into Jag's Jabs. But let me explain something to you of my motivation for asking the Encyclopedia to show me a Briscoes match. There are two gentlemen who just recently left the WWE. This is before the releases. Their contract expired and they left the WWE. Those gentlemen are formerly known as The Revival, okay? I don't even remember their real names, their shoot names, but we know their names in WWE, but they're not gonna be called that anymore, so we'll just call them The Revival for now. Now, The Revival has moved on from WWE.
The Revolt is the name that they've actually trademarked.
Really? The Revolt? Okay, The Revolt.
Which will be interesting because you've got Revolt, who is already a tag team, so that's gonna be interesting, but they filed for the trademark, so not to derail, but so.
No, that's solid. No, that's good information. Again, that's why we call him the Encyclopedia. He knows everything. But back to the people that are left WWE, The Revival, aka The Revolt, whatever, they're gone. And so a lot of people have been talking about where they're going to end up. And the AEW marks are like, they're coming to AEW. I can't wait to see them versus the Young Bucks. Blah, 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 blah. I disagree. I'm gonna tell you why I disagree. Because their motto, what is it, no flips, just fists? Well, guess what we have a whole hell of a lot of in AEW? Flips. And so I'm going, damn. Now, on the Jim Cornette podcast, which I listen to somewhat religiously, I am a Cult of Cornette member. I agree with about 90% of what he says. Someone wrote in and asked Jim Cornette if he would be willing to manage the Revival in AEW, which of course he said hell no because he hates AEW. However, he did say that he would consider managing them elsewhere. Impact, Ring of Honor, and someone said they'd like to see them wrestle the Briscoes. And I don't know anything about the Briscoes, which is why I said I need you to smarten me up on the Briscoes, which led to today's episode. So I want you to click the link in the description to open up this YouTube video of the Briscoes versus Motor City Machine Guns from Ring of Honor. You said 2007. All right, because we're gonna press play right now. All right, so this match was interesting and crazy in a good way. It was chaotic in a good way. And when I say chaotic, I mean it didn't look over rehearsed or over choreographed, which is what we see a lot of today. Do you agree with that?
For sure. You felt a sense of urgency a lot of times with Motor City Machine Guns, where they would get a tandem group move that we have not seen before.
Yes.
And you're like, this has got to be it. And so that sense of urgency that every time we deliver a high-powered move, or as we're building to this crescendo, and then all of a sudden we see that cutter with the leg drop, and that's the end. And you're like, oh, this is the most amount of damage anybody's taken at this point in the match. This has to be the end. I mean, it was paced right, where it built up, and then when you finally had the finishing move.
Now, the whole point of watching this was to see the Briscoes and see what they're made of. I don't know their names. I'm trying to learn, but these guys have I would say an improvisational style where it looks like they're actually looking for an opportunity to get a shot, or to a couple of things happen, like where it was he sidestepped the guy and he ends up drop kicking his own partner. You know what I mean? He ran past one point, realized he wasn't moving, and then went for stuff like that. Those little nuanced things where you're like, oh snap, this is an opportunity. I'm gonna capitalize on that opportunity. And so going back to what we said a little bit earlier about the Revival versus somebody like the Briscoes, in boxing they have a saying that styles make fights. And these styles I think would match up really well because it's a more realistic, grittier, catch as catch can kind of a style. What do you think?
For sure. No, 100%. This is a great match. Motor City Machine Guns had just wrapped up with TNA, and we're doing some Ring of Honor dates before they move on to the next phase of life. But this was a great moment, a great match. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, because this was a phenomenal match.
I will say this, as much as I was interested in wanting to see the Briscoes, the Motor City Machine Guns killed it in this match.
Oh, for sure.
Those tandem moves were great. The one Enziguri to the satellite DDT, money. They did that double tandem off the top, splash, and I don't know what is the leg drop. There's a lot of good stuff. And then the one of the Briscoe brothers, I don't know their names, he was perfect about coming in and breaking it up.
Yeah, Mark was being pinned by Chris Sabin, and he came in on that leg 2.5 and just got in there.
Last minute, and I was kind of ticked because I'm like, they've done this 2 or 3 times where he's breaking it up. But in order to tell the story and to get you that edge of your seat, like, is this going to be it? He kept saving the day, which was cool. They did it well, but I just felt, Motor City was throwing everything and the kitchen sink at these guys, and they still were pulling it out. So it got me, I was able to be invested and able to be bought in a way that you're not typically able to be bought in when you have these over choreographed spot fest matches, which is why I think the Revival, or the tag team formerly known as the Revival, would be better off wrestling somebody like this, or wrestling in this style, than going to AEW where it's dive and spot fiesta. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Now, I don't know how the money looks, or the schedule and the road trips and the exclusivity clauses, but I'm not the Revival, so whatever they do, they do is fine. But in the spirit of imagining this scenario, I'm glad I got to see some Briscoe action.
Absolutely.
And I think there's even more Briscoe action.
And that's what I was going to say, is tomorrow at 9 a.m., we're going to see the Briscoes versus War Machine. Now, you guys might know them as the Viking Raiders.
Okay.
I don't call them that, but that's what their new current dead names are. So, but it's Rowan, and these guys are amazing in War Machine. And
this is Viking Experience.
Okay. See, Viking. This is how bad I don't know my WWE. It's Viking Experience, Viking Raiders.
They were Experience for a minute, and they went back to Raiders because the world revolted. But so this is, what year is this?
This is 2014.
Okay, so a lot more recent. I don't think I've ever seen a War Machine match.
Well, you're going to see a great War Machine match, because this is when they were in Ring of Honor. This is what got them into WWE.
All right, and
not to say that they're New Japan stuff, but you got to remember that ROH and New Japan are very simpatico in their efforts to cross over both in events and talent exchanges. So they were a longtime IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team champions.
Nice. Okay.
When they came here for their first Ring of Honor show, or for first New Japan show in Long Beach, they were here as the tag champs.
I've heard good things about the War Machine. It was actually kind of funny because I heard them on Corey Graves' podcast.
Yes.
And they were going back and forth. He kept calling him by the wrong name. So, but they have
I'm only as bad as Corey Graves.
Absolutely.
So if that's bad, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. And
I will take that any day.
They have a long history of Ring of Honor based on that podcast. And so I'm excited to see it. And
he has good neck tattoos.
Oh,
Corey has great neck tattoos.
He does. I would like to shake his hand. I actually watched him versus Seth Rollins for the NXT Championship.
Ooh, daddy, that's a good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. All right, so you should be excited as well. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and come back tomorrow for more of the original Make Me a Fan purpose and intent, which is him showing me stuff to make me a fan. And tomorrow we get the War Machine, aka the War Raiders, aka the Viking. Screw up.
Tomorrow,
War Machine.
9 a.m.
Later, guys.